And that's what I do. That
Yeah.
I overcommit sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes
And he overcommits me, by the way.
Huh?
You heard me.
I
You
overcommit to you.
you overcommit me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you my road dog. If I'm going, you gotta go with me.
I'm like, Derek, I did not sign up for this. Welcome back to the Wells of Wealth podcast, guys.
Welcome back. It's good to be back in the building.
I'm so excited for today's episode. It's one of my favorite topics of all time.
It's good to see you again.
Is
you know
it?
I've been missing you, baby.
You miss me?
Yeah, I have.
You better miss me.
Good over there.
You better miss me.
I'm always be your biggest hype person.
I love it. I'm here for it. Hype me, because I'm going to hype you. You know I'm going to hype you. So, all right, let's get into our words of wealth. Let's hop into it.
All right. Today, the words of wealth. Rest when you're weary. Refresh and renew yourself. Your body, your mind, your spirit. Then go back to work.
That's good. Again, one of my favorite topics.
Rest.
There's one thing I'm going to do is rest. But no, rest is so extremely important.
It is.
It's so important in literally every aspect of your life. And so just a little story time, a little background for me. This year, we've been going non-stop. Like when I tell y'all non-stop, we have been moving consistently with business and with the kids. This year, all of our kids were in sports. We had Dion in soccer, Donovan in soccer, Daniel in basketball, Donovan also in piano.
Yeah.
So those are practices that we're running to, games every weekend. With business, we branched off and started our own brokerage, Next Home Platinum Realty.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. And so that has been a process and getting that started, getting that going. Just our sales practice with working with Wells Team Houston. We've just done a lot in the past few months. We've been moving. And so we got to about, let's just say May. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, Derek, I can't go like this anymore. I have to have a break.
Yeah.
Like I require some rest or else I'm going to crash and burn. Mm-hmm. And so we booked a trip to Arizona, which is honestly one of the most beautiful places probably in the U.S. If you haven't been, go.
Absolutely.
Go.
Absolutely.
And not only did we book a trip to Arizona, but I was very specific in booking a trip intentional, in booking a trip to a wellness resort. Mm-hmm. And in that wellness resort, everything from the moment you arrive, everything is ingrained in resting, in healing, and relaxing, and reconnecting with yourself. And those few days that we were there, I just felt a shift.
Yeah.
It was like,
good.
It was like, this is what I have been needing.
Yeah.
Like so bad. And I know it was a pain dragging you because you were like,
it was the break I didn't know I needed.
Yeah. You were like, what are you bringing me to? What is this resort?
Yeah.
But to wake up every day and there's healthy options there for you to eat. There's workout classes around the clock for you to go to. There's meditation classes. There's yoga. There's just stillness and quietness. And it just took us out of the busyness of life and put us into a state where we were able to refocus, rejuvenate and reconnect with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I was like, you know what? This season, I think we should really take our time to talk about rest.
Yeah.
Because as entrepreneurs and as, parents, it's so important to take time for yourself.
Absolutely.
And do something nice for yourself. So let's hop into some questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So what are some ways that you find yourself resetting, that you find time to refocus, reset? It could be on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. How do you refocus?
I would say on a daily basis, number one, working out. That kind of gives me a time to unwind, disconnect, focus on just working out, just lifting weights. For that's a good opportunity for me to clear my mind. My preferable thing when I'm working out is to go jog. But a lot of times I'll just lift or go get on an elliptical, different things like that. And then typically Sunday nights, I get in the hot tub.
TDJs.
That's my unwind time. Put on me a sermon, do some meditation, talk to God, relax. That's a good time for me to really rejuvenate. I'll be in the hot tub talking to myself, just thinking through my week, what I need to accomplish, things I need to get better at, things I want to meditate and kind of focus on. So on a like day-to-day periodic standpoint, I would say those are my ways that I kind of unwind.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, vacations. That's been, you like to travel.
I love to travel.
And I've embraced it too. I mean, I enjoy traveling as well. So I ain't gonna just put it on you.
And you're a bougie traveler. I just want to put that out there too. Say you're not.
A little bit.
Okay.
Not as bougie as you.
What?
Bruh.
We'll say that for another episode because I'm about to go. We're about to go at it.
So we went to Arizona. And Amanda had me staying in a Roach motel.
It was not that bad.
It was
of
bad.
A hotel.
It was bad, bro. Like I ain't that bougie, but that ain't it. That ain't it.
Let me just let y'all know. In Sedona, on average, a hotel during the time that we went can range to about $800 a night.
We should have went back to Carefree Arizona. Sedona,
where we went. So first, to be in Sedona and stay where we stayed, I would do it time
awesome.
and time and time again because there was nothing like that experience. It was beautiful, and I just felt myself connecting with God through nature. Like it was just so much awe everywhere you turn. Like I couldn't believe how beautiful God's creation was right here in our own backyard, and I never knew that.
Yeah.
Now, the hotel was not awful.
The motel?
It was a hotel. It was not awful. It wasn't my preferred place to stay, but it was, it got the job done.
We may do.
We had a great time in Sedona.
You did a fantastic job planning that vacation.
Thank you.
Minus that stay.
I'm going to take somebody else who want to travel with me because I'm not going with him. Anywho, vacations.
Vacation, yeah. That's weird. And hanging out with friends. But yeah, that's some things I do to unwind.
So I think that before I even get into what I do to unwind or to get rest, it has been a journey getting you to understand the importance of resting.
Agreed.
Why is resting so hard for you?
My brain always working. So I think here's why I think it's hard for me to rest. Number one, when I used to work at EY, I would work there. And then me and Josh had Salisbury and Wells accounting firm. So I would work there. So I would typically work 12, 13-hour days. Then I would still come home and work. So when I started my own business, I was used to working. And I'm like, okay, I got to grind 24/7 to build what I want to build. And I'm always getting visions and things that I want to move forward. So I used to feel guilty for not working.
So you've been conditioned.
I was
You were
conditioned. I was
conditioned.
conditioned that way. And then, but I think I've gotten much better.
You have.
Yeah. And I think that I realized, okay, the importance of balance.
Mm-hmm.
I realized the importance of rest.
Yeah.
And from a functionality standpoint, in order for me to show up for people and show up for myself like I need to, I have to have proper rest
Yeah.
in proper balance. Because if you don't have both of those together, it's hard to really be a functioning whole person.
Agreed. 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. Whenever I start to feel myself go into burnout mode, I'm very quick to put out a SOS message and say like, "Hey,
Yeah,
I got to
need a break.
stop.
Yeah.
I have to get this rest." And for me, rest isn't always a physical rest. It's not always like a laying on the beach or laying in the bed. Sometimes it's just having the capability or knowing that it's okay to say no,
Yeah.
because we're pulled in so many different directions all the time as business owners, with our kids, with family, with friends, community service obligations, clubs, and all type of different things that we're involved in. It's always something going on.
Always something.
And so I remember telling you one of the revelations that I had when I was in Arizona was knowing that it's okay to say no to some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to some people. I can't be everything to everybody all the time. I have to take a step back and rest and give myself a mental rest and a social rest.
Yeah. Facts.
Social rests are needed because
Now I will take some social rest.
You are good at that.
I'm like, okay, I need a people break.
Yeah.
We'll do stuff at the house. We'll entertain for a while, and then I'm like, I need a people break.
Yeah.
Because in like even in reading the Bible, you will see Jesus. He'll go out. He'll feed the 5,000. He'll go rest.
Yeah. He'll withdraw.
He'll withdraw. He'll go into prayer. Just take time for himself. And it's important, like from a mental standpoint, a lot of times, like when I'm moving too fast, I'm missing stuff. When I'm not really taking the time to unwind and to give my brain time to just woosah and just be still and be quiet. And even just being around people all the time. Like sometimes you need a rest. Sometimes because when you're around people, you're dealing with everybody's expectation.
And you're dealing with everybody's energy.
Exactly.
And energy can be transferred onto you. Mm-hmm. It can drain you. And sometimes you thrive from people's energy. Yeah, sometimes you need that to keep you going. But there's also times where you have to take a step back and say, look, y'all go without me. I'll catch y'all next time.
Yeah.
And I used to feel guilty for that. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel guilty for that at all anymore. Like I know that I show up for the people in my life consistently. Mm-hmm. And I know that I'm there for the important things.
Yeah.
So when there's certain events or certain things that's happening where I'm like, you know what? Do I want to spend my time relaxing and getting some rest before this crazy week starts? Or do I want to fulfill whatever expectation of me that someone has? Sometimes I'm going to pick me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And know that that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's okay. I know that especially as millennials in this day and age that we're in, just in the US, just from traveling, I realized how much in the US we are conditioned to think that every second of every day we're supposed to be doing something, that we have to work. You go to these other countries and you realize people are not working like that. People are not running themselves into the ground for things.
Yeah.
People take breaks. They spend time with their family. They'll walk to the grocery store. They'll stand around and chat with friends or hang out. Like you just see people live a calmer, easier life. And I think that sometimes a lot of the diseases, a lot of the stress and all the mental issues that we have here in the US is because we don't allow ourselves to rest.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
We don't. Like, anxiety is something that I struggled with in the past, and a lot of it was from external factors
Mhm.
and feeling like I had to please everybody around me consistently.
How do you deal with people pleasing? How do you to make sure that you get the rest that you need and still show up for people in a way that you know that people need you to maintain the friendship, to maintain the relationship? How do you decipher the two?
Boundaries.
Hmm.
Creating healthy boundaries. And they're not boundaries necessarily that the other person or the other people or your friends or family or spouse or whoever, it's not necessarily boundaries that they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's setting those boundaries within yourself where you say, okay, I can show up for you this way, but when it comes to certain things, some stuff's just going to be off limits. I can't show up for you there.
How do you deal with their expectation versus your performance? Like, let's say they look for you to show up in a certain way and you don't. Do you feel like do you feel guilty in a sense for that?
No, because I don't feel like I put the expectation on anybody. Two, if you're truly my friend, if you're in relationship with me, you know my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like in our marriage. I can put as much expectation on you as I want to.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're going to do everything I expect you to do.
Yeah.
That's not going to change how I feel about you. That's not going to change how I love you. But you set boundaries within yourself where you're like, okay, these are things that I can do and these are things that I can't necessarily do for you. You may need to get that somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so as a friend, I think it's the same thing where there's some ways that I can show up for you and there's some things that I can do and be there for you. But then there's going to be things where I'm like, that's off limits to me. I can't cross that line, or you need to rely on God for X, Y, and Z, or you need to rely on whoever. Like, you have to, everybody has to figure out how to balance their own life.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing can fall all on one person.
Yeah.
I can't put all my expectations on you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put all my expectations on my mom. You can't do that because you're going to be disappointed every time. And for me, like I said, I think I show up enough in the moments that count where friends know to give me grace.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to ask that question because I think a lot of times people feel guilty for not showing up for different things, for choosing themselves first, for getting the rest that they need. And I did that at one point. And if I tell you I'm gonna be somewhere, I'm gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
so how do you navigate that?
Kind of the same. I think that I put boundaries in place. But I will go if I'm tired and I told you I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. Like I'm gonna just be tired and go. So I wouldn't say that I've conquered that, but I just believe in doing what I tell you I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And
so maybe not overcommitting.
That's good.
Maybe not overcommitting.
And that's what I do. Yeah, I overcommit sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
And he overcommits me, by the way.
Huh?
You heard me. You
overcommit to you.
You overcommit me.
Oh yeah. I mean, you my road dog. If I'm going, you got to go with me.
I'm like, Derek, I did not sign up for this. Like,
we going together.
No,
we in this thing together. We won, baby.
I'm setting my boundaries on this episode right now. Okay,
we won, baby.
If you didn't hear it out my mouth, don't expect me to be there.
She coming.
I'm not.
99, probably. I give you 95% of the time you coming.
I am.
Every now and then you like, nah, bro, you on your own. But you are more social than I am, though. So when you go, you have a good time.
I do, but I sometimes if my battery hasn't been recharged, and I'm kind of teetering somewhere in the middle, sometimes I can push myself forward and just go and be social and have a good time. Because I do enjoy social events and seeing people and hanging out. But when I'm getting closer to that red, like when
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel myself just completely depleted, it is very easy for me to choose myself.
Yeah. But that's a good question. How do you, because sometimes we're at different spots. Sometimes, like, I'm like, I need a people break. I don't want nobody coming over here. I just want Jill. And you like, I want to turn up. Like, so how do you function when
And an
both
opposite sometimes.
when both people are
Yeah.
not on the same wavelength? Majority of the times, I think we are.
Yeah.
But we do have times where it's like, I'm like, hey, I want to invite so and so, all these people over. You like, nah, because I'm gonna have to do all this. Nope, we're not doing it.
Well, there's two different things. One, when you're really pushing for it, I've learned to let you host.
Yeah, that's true.
And so my friends now, they'll be like, you must have told Derek he had to host, because they'll see you running
Moving
around,
around.
sweating. You're like, let me get this. I need to grab this. And I'm sitting back like, hey, guys, just hanging out, kicking it,
I'm
whatever.
Like, dog, I shouldn't invite nobody over here.
And I think that has helped too, because with you understanding the amount of energy it
Yeah, that's
takes to host people, or even just to show up for people sometimes, it's draining.
Yeah.
It can be very draining. And so giving you that responsibility and saying, hey, you got it, and letting you see, typically after that event, you don't want to host no more.
Facts.
And so I get the break that I need.
Yeah.
So I'm recharged for the next thing. But yeah, I think when you're in a space where you're not ready for people and I am, I think I try to find my entertainment outside of here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll plan a girls' night.
Yeah.
I'll hit my friends up and say, hey, do you want to go to dinner? Do you want to grab drinks? Let's go see this movie. Let's go to this event. Let's try something. And I think that that's important because it gives you the break that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I still get fulfilled and I still get to have a good time. And then I come back and I'm good for you.
Yeah.
And so it's really finding those moments where, hey, maybe, you want to stay at home and watch whatever your documentaries or whatever all day. I'm going to go move around, but I'll be back. Like, and to me, that's the balance.
Gotcha.
To me, that's the way to keep things where we don't exhaust each other, and vice versa. I'll send you, and I'm like, y'all go have fun.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah. So I have some more questions for you that I wanted to ask. So how has resetting helped you in your personal and professional life?
I think like when we went to Arizona, we had, like you said, we had both been grinding, getting this brokerage set up. And I knew I needed to rest. And for me, it's hard for me to, if I'm here and I'm in my normal element, I'm a grind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a work. So me is stepping away, and it allows me to refocus and revamp. Like when we went to Arizona, we just sat by the pool and read our book.
It was so rare.
I know, it was so good. And we and I rarely do that. So it kind of gave me a time to just relax my mind. I didn't have to focus on anything. I didn't have to be anywhere. And I just kind of enjoyed just doing nothing.
Yeah.
It was very nice. And I think you have to let your mind rest.
You have to.
It's important.
It is. I realized that in resting, God calls you to rest.
Mm-hmm. He did it on the seventh day.
He did it. And he's God, not because he had to rest, but I think it's because God knows the importance of rest. And ultimately, he's the key example for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why you also see Jesus take rest in so many instances throughout the Bible, is because that rest and resetting is not only important for your physical and your mental, it's so important for your spiritual health.
Facts.
When you're moving so much, you have to be able to know when to rest and to retreat into God. You have to know when to retreat and give your burdens to him.
Exactly.
And so spiritual rest and spiritual resetting is probably the most important rest out of all of them,
Agreed.
because that will shift your life.
Mhm.
That will take you from a place of anxiety and exhaustion and just all of the things, stress that we're
overload.
constantly worried about. We're
Yeah.
always thinking about something. But when you just give it to God, when you truly spend time in prayer, you spend time just talking to him and telling him what you need, and you release those things onto him, you have a different type of rest.
Mhm.
And I got that rest, and I learned how to get that rest this year in Arizona.
Gotcha.
I spoke to God a lot.
Mhm.
And that it was just a reoccurring theme. I
Yeah.
kept hearing his voice.
Yeah.
And so when we got back, I've tried to implement that into my life here, because I
Mhm.
can't be on vacation all the time.
Yeah.
But I can take 10, 15 minutes out of my day, whether that's first thing in the morning, whether that's in the car, whenever that time is, whether it's just going and sitting outside on the patio, taking a few moments to just talk to God and give him my burdens of the day.
Yeah.
And then keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. And I think when you speak with God and when you do release those burdens, number one, I think it's important to talk to God, because he's the one that's going to give you the vision. And a lot of times, especially with me, I'm so busy executing what he's shown me that I don't give him the opportunity to give me new revelation.
Mm,
And so you have to slow down and and just create quiet spaces to hear from him,
yeah.
because it's hard for him to speak to you when you're moving around nonstop, always on the go. Because I don't even have the mind space, the quietness
To hear him.
to hear him.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when I'm in the office reading my word, when I'm in the hot tub kicking it, just in my quiet space, I'm able to have the time to receive what he's trying to tell me.
Yeah.
And he will give you rest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
when you can cast your burdens on him, he will give you all the rest you need. And when you can do that and find peace in that, it will de-stress you a lot.
Absolutely.
It'll give you what you need.
1000%.
Yeah.
I agree. Hey, Wealth of Wealth community. Are you working right now?
I'm just trying to get to the bag, baby, selling these houses.
Really? If you're looking to buy or sell a house here in the Houston area, please contact the Wells team. But not during the podcast. Maybe we can put that away until it's done.
I got you.
Okay. All right, cool.
Back to the podcast.
All right. Well, it is time for Wealth Avenue. Wealth Avenue is where we give you tips and tricks on your road to success. And so I think you should start first.
All right, I'll go first this time. So on Wealth Avenue, I would say it is important to get rest, which is a struggle for me. But I have learned to understand the importance of, number one, de-stressing.
Mm-hmm.
And you helped me with that in a multitude of ways.
Can't.
But it's important to de-stress and, number one, get into your word. That gives you...
See, you can't even get back on track. That's what you get. That's what you get.
It gives you a place to find your vision, to figure out where you need to be moving, to get directions on where God would have you to go. And it allows you to find peace in your spirit. And there where you find peace, you find rest. And that is important.
Amen.
And then two, just finding your releases, whether it's working out, whether it's spending time with your friends, whatever you need to do to find those places where you can be at peace.
That's
and rest.
good. That's good.
That's my takeaway.
Good. Um, so my tips and for your road to success would be understanding that rest doesn't equate to weakness, nor does rest equate to laziness. It is
That's good.
essential.
Because I used to think you lazy because you were resting.
No, I just knew myself,
Yeah.
and I knew that if I kept going, then everything was going to fall apart. And so I had to advocate for myself, especially when you're married to someone who is so driven and just consistently going, consistently thinking of the next task and the next thing that needs to be done. And your idea of chilling out is working. I'm like, no, we can't, this is not going to work for me. Like, we're not going to do this. Nor are you going to be stressed out and have heart disease and all these other things because you just never took the time to rest and give your body what it needs. And so knowing that there's strength in finding your rest and resetting. And like you said, you can be more to people when you refill your cup. And there's so many great things you can do to do that. And for me, one thing that I've found recently that I've just fallen in love with to reset is yoga. Because it's 2-in-1. You're moving your body and you're working up a great sweat, but you're also renewing your mind. You're breathing, you have quiet time, you're not worried about the people around you, you're just flowing. And so that has helped me a lot here lately. Like as we build and continue to build, it's been imperative for me to find something for myself. And so I think yoga is going to be my thing.
I like that.
Be a little yogi.
Make you flexible.
Okay. Well, that has been the Wells of Wealth podcast for today. Let me go ahead and find my little outro notes so I can get him off of here. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast streaming apps. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Wells of Wealth podcast. It's still a learning curve. Y'all bear with me. And thank you guys for being a part of our wealth community. Can't wait to see you on the next episode. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. And get some rest.
Get some rest.
Bye.